In the 1960s, Carroll Shelby and his band of talented hot rodders built a small company on passion, hustle, and one very loud idea: to create a sport car, as he insisted on calling it, that would smoke Ferraris, challenge Corvettes, and thrill Americans. They called it the Cobra, and it became a legend. Today, thanks to Lance Stander and his team at Superformance, car nuts like me can drive that legend without coming up with millions of dollars.
What is a Cobra doing on a Corvette Lovers channel? Well, the answer is Carroll Shelby put it here. Let me paint the Shelby picture for you just a little. Here's a guy with long, tall, Texan movie star good looks, fresh out of the Army where he was getting his need for speed filled flying airplanes. Like most baby boomers, he started a family, he's got to pay the bills. He tried all kinds of businesses, including most famously chicken farming, where he had these killer overalls he wound up wearing to races. He was a concrete contractor. He was a dump truck driver. He sold used cars. He tried everything, hated pretty much all of it. He said, I wasn't afraid to try a lot of different things, and I failed at most of them, but I learned something every time. Then he decided to try race car driving because that was all I ever thought about anyway. His passions came alive. Imagine Andy Griffith's storytelling. Imagine Elvis's charisma and magnetism, complete with plenty of pretty women always close by. Imagine Mario Andretti's world-class driving skills. Shelby had all this in one package, and then he was the original and maybe best NIL negotiator, deal maker of all time before NIL was even a thing. Shelby branded race cars, he branded sport cars, as he insisted on calling them. He branded performance drinks and even had driving shoes complete with tire tread. But this wasn't about the shoes. No, his passion project in the early 60s is what delivered to the world the Shelby Cobra. And that is the subject of today's episode of Dave's Garage Mahal. This is my 1965 Shelby Cobra. It is a mixture of old world grace and new world grit. Classic Guardsman blue with Wimbledon white stripes. She is powered by a 392 Roush Racing V8, pumping out 465 horses. Made it to a 5-speed Tremec, just like my Corvette. She's got an MSD distributor, Edelbrock aluminum manifold, and a Holley 4-barrel carburetor. These gorgeous curves are riding on these 18-inch custom American racing rims. Notice the legit knockoff spinners and the AC logo and the safety chain. They're wrapped in these sticky Nito 555 G2 tires. And they have these cool looking Goodyear decals to give it a touch of authenticity. And I can hear my Cobra geeks now saying, wait a minute, they didn't come with 18-inch rims, and they certainly didn't come with a Roush Racing 392. What you talking about, Dave? So let's stop right now and answer that question that I get at almost every gas station. Hey man, is this a real Cobra, or did you build it? Well, pretty sure the car I just drove up in is real no matter who built it, right? Of course, I never say that because I'm not that guy. I know exactly what this nice person is asking me. Is this one of the original 998 cars built by the legendary team 60 years ago that is now trading over $2 million, sitting right here in front of us at a Sunoco in the flesh? Or is it one of the many mail order replica kits that people build in their garage? The answer is, it is neither. It is something much better. This is an MKIII Superformance, manufactured new in 2007 with brand new parts, modern techniques, and quality control. It's reliable, it's solid, it's tight. It's about as good as a goddamn Lexus. Well, maybe not quite Lexus level quality, but you get the picture. It is a very reliable piece of machinery, and it looks just like it stepped out of 1965. In fact, after some courtroom back and forth, Carroll Shelby finally visited the Superformance plant, looked around and said, hell, y'all build them better than we ever did. So then he did what Shelby always did. He signed an NIL deal with them. Brilliant. Superformance not only makes these licensed replicas like mine, they were also hired by the modern day Shelby American to make their continuation cars. Fun fact, all the Shelbys in the movie Ford versus Ferrari were manufactured by Superformance. So the way it works is you buy the rolling chassis without the motor or the transmission from Superformance. They send it to your local authorized installer, and there you pick your engine and your transmission. In this case, the legendary Olthoff Racing installed my Roush Racing engine. Bob Olthoff, by the way, was a contemporary of Carroll Shelby and Pete Brock. Small world. Dennis Olthoff is the son who now runs the show and is a super mechanic and an even nicer guy. He even modified the cabin, the cockpit here, just a little bit in a couple directions so a man of my stature could fit in and drive this hellion.
This car is almost cartoonishly light. We're talking 2,500 pounds or less. That's about 1,000 pounds less than the Corvette with similar power. It is a beast. The power to weight ratio is gaudy, almost obscene. The numbers on this car are obscene, so let's ignore the numbers. I'm glad there's no red line anywhere, so you're not tempted to try to test the red line. Let's stay away from any red line. Let's focus on playing between the lines. It's a raw power that must be respected. Super fun. Very similar to riding a roller coaster, except there's no safety bar and there's no rail. You control the rail, but it feels a lot like a roller coaster. We've got wind and sound. Safety's on you. Very similar to a pet lion. The lion's beautiful. The lion tolerates you and lets you feed it and care for it and even cuddle with you. But you better have a sense in the back of your head that the lion can end you if she decides to. Don't go in the fence. Don't go near the fence, even if we're in the fence. She's a beast. Not 100% tameable. There's no cruise control or anti-lock brakes or rendering of the environment to make it easier and quieter and safer for you. It's the opposite. It's exactly what you feel at 90 miles an hour. This is what it feels like. Unlike my Tesla, where you're going 90 before you feel like you're even going 40. This is the opposite. Hell, you feel like you're going 90 when you're only going 40, which is probably a good thing. It's a good thing I'm from the school of Dewey, where we were taught to finesse the car and try to be ginger with the machinery, make it last longer, not try to tear it up. That's why this is a good fit for me. This car is the truth. That's what it is. This car is the truth. You can't handle the truth. If you're trying to race it, you're going to fail. There will be truth or consequences. When you're dealing with the truth, there's no negotiation. It's almost like when you're driving the car, you're not exactly in 100% control. You're in a negotiation. Just be respectful. She's the truth with bangs. And a nice little red hot poker at your ankles to match. No need to stretch the truth. The truth will stretch you.
Let's go back in time into this gorgeous little Cobra body. First, you notice there are no exterior door handles. Race cars don't have those. You open the door with these latches that are attached to this rope. You have this nice little pocket for your oil rags and such. I prefer not to use the doors at all. I like to step in. It helps me avoid burning myself on the side pipes. Fits in so well. We've got these period correct Simpson racing belts. It's a 4-point harness. As Jay Leno says, they won't save your life, but it'll make it easier for the coroner to identify the bodies. As I mentioned, Dennis Olthoff made this thing just enough for me to fit perfectly. He extended the wheel a couple inches, he lowered the seat a couple inches, he expanded the foot box. It's really a nice fit. No changes to the original gauges. We've got this huge tachometer front and center. Race car drivers care more about the tach than the speedo, of course. You'll notice the speedo is reversed. And the legend has it that when they were assembling the British body and the English V8s, the American V8s, they realized that the speedos rotated anti-clockwise, as the British say. The solution is to install a reverser behind that, and I'll show you a picture of what that reverser looks like. Shelby decided, as a cost-cutting measure, not to install the reversers. So ironically, now the modern cars cables do spin the correct way, and Superformance installs the reversers to keep the anti-clockwise for nostalgia purposes. Pretty cool. Also, reflecting the old world charm, the gauges are in Celsius. We've got oil pressure and oil temperature. We've got water temperature, amperage for the battery, of course, your fuel gauge front and center. These very satisfying toggle switches. Listen to this auxiliary fan. It really does the job. We've got these light switches and your wiper switches. It's just all that you need for a race car. You'll notice this huge intrusion into the cockpit. This car is tiny. It weighs less than 2,500 pounds. You've got the transmission and the engine in the way, and for that reason, your feet are angled left. It doesn't take a lot of getting used to, honestly. It just is what it is, and it's wonderful, and it feels authentic, true to the original Ace configuration. You'll also notice this shifter looks kind of awkward, leaning so far forward, but in reality, it's quite ergonomic. I mean, it works very well. Legend has it that Shelby took a shifter out of a Ford or a Falcon and just reversed it 180 and said, that'll work, let's go racing. Haven't been able to confirm if that's actually how it happened, but it is a cool story, and I agree, it'll work. Let's go cruising. Now, the last thing I want to do is paint Shelby as just the NIL GOAT. He was the CEO of a startup. He maintained the vision, he raised the money, he attracted the right people, and maybe best of all, he could sell. This whole legend started with 2 sales pitches. One to AC Cars in England, They built a lightweight roadster called the Ace. Shelby knew they had lost their engine supplier. Talk about great timing. So he said, I got a great new V8 engine for you. Legend has it at the time he had nothing, but that didn't stop him. Then he went to Ford and pitched Ford on the idea of dropping their brand new V8 into a classic European racer. Again, great timing. We'll blow off the Corvettes and the Ferraris. Ford furnished the engines and gave him $25,000 in seed money, which would be about $256,000 in 2025, adjusted for inflation. With the handshake deal from AC and Ford, Shelby moved to California, which was the epicenter of the U.S. hot rod scene, and began hiring his team that would go on to build the iconic world champion Shelby Cobra. Legend has it Carroll Shelby loved to show off just how brutal the Cobra's torque really was. The story goes he'd tape a crisp $100 bill right here on the dash and tell a prospective buyer or lucky passenger, if you can grab it before I hit 60, it's yours. Nobody ever did, of course. The acceleration pinned them so hard against the seat that Benjamin might as well have been a mile away. That tale captures Shelby's mix of bravado and showmanship. He didn't just sell the horsepower, he sold the experience. So today, in that Shelby spirit, I've taped a fresh bill to my dash. Care to try your luck? Businessman and lifelong car guy Lance Stander came to America looking to buy a salvage yard right here in North Carolina. When that deal collapsed, his wife convinced him to take on a Superformance dealership as a side hustle. That side hustle became his American dream. Lance liked the experience so much he bought the company. In addition to negotiating licensing with Shelby, he won over Peter Brock to consult on Shelby Daytona coupes. But wait, there's more. He struck a deal with General Motors to build the stunning '63 Corvette Grand Sports. Today he owns and operates Superformance in Irvine, California. They turn out factory-built Cobras, Shelby Daytona coupes, Corvette Grand Sports, GT40s, and more. Thank you, Lance. You give car lovers like me a chance to drive history without paying the auction hammer prices.
Sold, $12,500,000.
God bless you, and God bless America.
I don't always drive Fords, but when I do, I drive a Cobra.
Commercially, the Cobra wasn't the runaway success Shelby imagined. Fewer than 1,000 were built before Henry Ford II lured him away with the promise of unlimited racing budgets and the chance to kick Enzo Ferrari's butt at Le Mans, which they did. But in the process, he carved out something even bigger, a legend. The legacy lives on today at Shelby American through Superformance replicas and in the thriving kit car community. The demand is still there, and so is the spirit. Shelby may have struck the best NIL deal ever, trading sweat and vision for immortality. We may not need more people in the Cobra spirit, but we can always use more Cobra spirit in the people.
Hey, here's some inside Cobra baseball for you. If you're like me, 200 and too many pounds, you probably have a nice set of supportive Herman Munsters like these. They will not even fit in the box, much less allow you to drive the car. You'll need some good drivers. These Pumas are probably my favorite. They're very affordable. I've also found some cool retro Nikes that I like to wear. Very thin soles. I wouldn't recommend them to run a 5K or anything, but they do a nice job of driving the Cobra. I'll put links in the description for you. Grab them when you see them on sale. Never pay retail for shoes. That's another School of Dewey tip. Now it's time for another lesson from the School of Dewey. My dad was a classic car guy. He always had a list of things that could go wrong or have gone wrong with the cars I've owned. So in his honor, here's my Cobra list for you. First of all, right into my period of stewardship, the intake manifold sprung a pretty serious leak. Fortunately, the good guys at Dennis Olthoff Racing were able to get that addressed for me very quickly. About a year later, the starter switch just failed on me, the ignition switch. Again, Dennis Olthoff to the rescue. He helped me troubleshoot it and source the replacement piece from Napa Parts. It was here the next day. I installed it myself. My pop would be proud. This one's almost funny. This gorgeous racing aerodynamic chrome mirror just vibrated apart and rolled off into the lake. Now this is the replacement part for it, but it's held on by this tiny little bolt. What could go wrong? I think I'm trying to find a little better solution for that. Also, it's a very known thing with these Cobras. The battery cables tend to vibrate loose. It's such a rough and tumble piece of machinery. So if it ever just won't start on you, make sure you tighten these battery cables. That saved me several times. Finally, the Cobra does bite. The side pipes have burned me twice and the wife once. In both cases, it was at a gas station where an admirer was trying to talk to me, and I burned my leg before I got out of the car to address the show. And pro tip, get out of the car first before you start showing off. These cars are hot, they're fast, they're loud, they're raw. It's like driving a roller coaster. It's not for everyone, but if it's for you, it is unlike any other car. As my pop would say, take care of the machinery, take care of your passengers, and they'll take care of you.